Hey YouTube, it's Prime13 coming at you with another Transformers video review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the 86 Studio Series Transformers the movie Thundercracker. And this has definitely been the talk of the interwebs recently, and for good reason. He is definitely a surprising figure. But we will start with a quick look at the box. And here we have Thundercracker in his vehicle mode, and we do get that nice wraparound art. And here we have the part where they break into the Ark, or the shuttle to Earth, rather. There we got Thundercracker. On top we got his name and the movie logo, our legal jargon on the bottom, and then on the back we have our screen cap of their Escape and Astro Train, our little bio, and some figure product shots. And they actually did get the hole in the ship here as well. Some nice attention to detail. No play button this time. Sorry guys, we're not watching any videos on this box. But yeah, that's it for the packaging. And then we do have his lovely instruction booklet. And it does come with some out-of-the-box instructions here as well. And I will go over that very briefly here, because fresh out of the box, the null rays, the tail fins, and the tips of his wings right here. You can see where they attach. These are separate in the box, but they just tab on, and they are very secure. I haven't really tried to take them off because I don't really have any reason to, but I haven't had any issues with them slipping out of place or anything. But we will take a quick look here at the figure, and he does have a sort of a smiling / laughing kind of face. Nice red for the eyes and a nice gray for the face. Got that clear orange for the cockpit, and then of course we got those red stripes on the wings, and we do have our Decepticon symbol there. Very smooth cartoon-esque legs with a splash of gray there. And here we do come to the ever controversial leg / tail fins. And yes, for this there is parts forming. It is a very optional parts forming though, because you can just wiggle. Yeah, mine pops off because the peg isn't super long, but you can just wiggle it loose and just rotate it if you want. This side doesn't usually pop off. See, you can just rotate it like that if you want to transform it without taking it off. But if you want those super clean animated look legs, these do come off, and you can just plug them onto the back of his wings here to get that super clean look on his legs. And I think that is a great compromise. I am perfectly okay with that kind of parts forming, because not only do they just store on the back, it's a nice secure way to clean up the figure, but now you also have some options in how you want your figure to look. So I am perfectly content with that. Another thing I really like is how they did put the null ray plugs on an actual segment in the middle of his arm, so that it's actually exactly where it's supposed to be. It's not up on his shoulder. It is actually attached to his lower bicep, which is where they always were in the show. So I think that is pretty neat as well. For some reason these were done in clear plastic, you can see. And the thing is I don't even see any other clear plastic here, but there's tons of this blue. Were you just looking for an excuse to waste paint? Why not just cast them in that blue plastic? That's 90% of the figure. But I know I'm not Hasbro, which is, yeah, whatever, Hasbro. That's dumb. That's just dumb. But yeah, and then we do get his thruster feet, and I'm pretty sure that it's not. Yeah, no. That does make me sad. I like my thruster feet to be blast compatible for whooshy action. So, a bit of a disappointment there. There is also this huge gap here, which that will probably bother some people. It's not that noticeable from the front, and honestly, the way I usually pose the arms, like so, or like so, I'm not really looking at the sides of his waist, and sometimes it even covers it up, so and that doesn't bother me too much. But yeah, overall, very nice figure. Let's talk about his articulation real quick. We do get a ball jointed head. It is kind of stiff and restricted. Do have a hinge here for like up and down movement. So the arms can't do 360 because of his wings. Well, actually, technically they can if you move his wings out of the way. So full motion there. You do get your elbow swivel. You do get 90 degrees at the elbow, and you do get a full wrist swivel. And he does have the 5mm ports in his hands if for some reason you want to take his null ray off and put it in his hand. But I always think they look best on the arm. And for the first time in ages, we do have a Seeker with a waist joint. Hooray! Don't really get 360 out of it because of the shape, and even if there was, the backpack does kind of would restrict it. But hey, we get a waist joint finally. We also do get some little hip skirt pieces right here. So that's kind of neat. We can, right, this does go up in one solid piece. I remember that being a topic that was discussed, perhaps uncivilly. But yeah, you can kick that far forward. You do get 90 degrees at the knee. Can kick that far out, and the arms do go that far out. Do get a thigh swivel, and we do get nice ankle movement there. And as always, we do have our thruster high heels that the Seekers tend to have. I think that's a kind of cool look, honestly. So I think that's it for articulation. We already talked about the weapons. So I guess now would be time to do size comparisons. Alright, so first we will start with a General Voyager. Here he is next to Sentinel Prime from Transformers 1. Here he is next to the Elite Seeker from that Target 2-pack. Because, believe it or not, I don't have Skywarp or Thundercracker in the Earthrise mold because I wasn't collecting at that time. I have pre-ordered those Dramatic Capture packs because I still want them. I like to have multiple versions of figures. But yeah, at the moment, I don't have the previous mold. But what I do have is Thundercracker. Let's actually scoot you over here a bit. And Thundercracker. I can't believe it's not Thundercracker. And we'll get these guys out of the way. And one of the most important comparisons, I think, Masterpiece Thundercracker. And yeah, there are a few things that were definitely lightly borrowed. Again, like, the overall design obviously is the same, but they did kind of like sort of finagle a similar fin storage as this one, because they do end up on the back of his wings. One is just like an actual armature, this one is just a plug and play sort of scenario. And the way some of his transformation, especially like around the arms, works is pretty similar too. It is sort of like a mix between the Masterpiece and like the old Earthrise / Classics design. But yeah, overall, like you can see, like, again, this is one of those ones that truly does feel like a mini Masterpiece. So, I mean, really, the only like glaring flaw I can say that this one has is that his waist isn't filled in all the way. But honestly, I can live with that. It doesn't really bother me that much. But yeah, so there's that. Alright, I think that is it for robot mode. Oh, of course you fall over Sky. Thundercracker. Almost called him Skywarp. I'm gonna upset people on the internet. But let's go ahead and move into transformation, I think. So you are going to want to take off these. Oh god, more parts forming. How could we? And obviously we're going to take these fins off of his back. You can put them on right away. I am going to hold off just until we get into his vehicle mode. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to open up his forearms and just flip his fist in on its little ball joint there and close that up. And we'll open this up, flip in the hand, close that up. Then we do want to detach the wings from the back. You do just plug in on this tab and slot, like so. And then we are going to, you're going to sort of bend his back a little bit. And you do get like a slight back crunch, but it's not a ton. Whoop, there we go. And you're going to want to pull these, the two side vents up to just untab everything and sort of get this out there. And then you are going to want to sort of unfold the nose cone here out, and you want to make sure that these two parts here are open enough that you can sort of get his head in. Well, actually, we'll hold off on that because we do want to fold the arms in first. Actually, before we do that, I'm getting all over the place. Something to keep in mind is his waist does slide onto this little piece right here, like right in here. So when you are going into robot mode, you want to make sure that you feel that sort of catch. But it'll hold pretty well once you actually get it on there. Just figured I should mention that. But we are going to fold his arms in after we fold up these little skirt pieces like so. Fold these in. Like so. And then as we bring these back down, this little blue piece right here is going to go into the ports on his arm, like so, just to help lock things in place. And yeah, again, these kind of tend to stay mostly closed, but you want to get his head in there. Come on. It's being dumb now. Open these up a bit more. Come on. Pretty sure you're not supposed to turn around, are you? Nope, that's definitely not what's going on. I just out of like order on this. Let me try to get these wings out of the way. Never had this much trouble with it before. Oh, there. Yeah. Okay, and then you just close those up and kind of push this back to plug it in. But this, honestly, is one of those parts that just doesn't really like to connect super well. Or maybe it will this time. But yeah, once it's there, it apparently will stay. Okay, and then you make sure you plug in that nose cone, and then we want to open up the back of the legs. They are kind of a secure connection, but then you are going to do the whole shift the leg piece down, and it doesn't move that far. As you can see, it's really not a huge difference. But yeah, you'll feel it snap into place. I don't know if you heard that. And there are, on this black piece, there are two different slots, not the two little square ones, but the two rectangles on the top and the bottom that are for this piece. So we just move that in. And I always feel like I'm not moving it far enough, but make sure that that's actually properly. In there. Come on. The other one didn't give me trouble. Why are you giving me trouble? Stop giving me trouble. But yeah, it's not. There it goes. And then we close that up, and obviously we tab the two legs together. And we just kind of straighten this out a little bit. And then we can fold this part down and over. We want to make sure, because it's on a double hinge here, we want to make sure it sits flush. And then it'll, there are these little bits here that'll hook on to these little slots here on the back of his legs. And it'll all click together. And we're bringing the wings the rest of the way, yes, the rest of the way down. And there's a little slot here that will slide into this little like groove bit here, like so. And just make sure we get everything. And there is also a very tiny, right here, it's kind of hard to see, there's a little tab, very shallow tab. It's like super tiny. You can sort of see it there. And that'll go into this little groove here. So there are multiple connection points. Anyway, now we can bring in our tail fins, and we'll pop them on at an angle like so. And an angle like so. And we will do as the masterpiece does and fold up the feet like so. And then these, you want to plug them in at an angle because you can see there is a little tab right here, and you want to rotate this down over it. So, and then you can fold this out. And then just rotate this down over it. And again, these do have the little nub. And again, for some reason, mine on one side likes to pop off while the other doesn't. But yeah, that will lock all of that into place quite securely. And then finally, we just take the null rays and you can plug them in underneath the wing like so. You can put them in either spot, but I think they look more proper when they are in the outer slot, post, whatever. And there we have Thundercracker in his vehicle mode. And it, oh, there, now we do. And it is a very nice jet. I do really like the way it looks. Now again, it is not perfect, as with any Seeker. All the junk is on the bottom, and there is a gaping hole in here. I will say this is a bit more hard to ignore than the sides of his waist in robot mode. Yeah, this is pretty significant. I mean, it's not anything new in all honesty, but yeah, I'm sure some like third party will come out with like a gap filler kit, because I know there's like a lot of companies that do gap filler. I wouldn't be surprised if DNA came out with a kit for them as well that like covered this up. There are plenty of like high-end masterpiece style Seekers that get like a piece that goes here to act as a stand adapter. So, but yeah, other than that, a very nice vehicle mode. And again, it does have some carryover from the masterpiece. Not that I think that is a bad thing or anything. We do also get a little landing gear. Only just one in the front. But hey, they did add that because I'm pretty sure Earthrise did not have landing gear, which is kind of lame. But yeah, overall, does look very nice. You can kind of see the hollowness on the null rays here now, though, which is a little bit of a bummer. Not thrilled by that. We do also get a opening cockpit. There's not really too much sculpted in there, but hey, it's neat that they added that little detail. They didn't have to do that. But yeah, overall, definitely dig that. And we're just going to do one quick comparison this time around, and we will do it with the generic Seeker Earthrise mold. So yeah, you can see he is a slight bit bigger He is a tiny bit longer, and I think he might be a smidge wider. It's sort of hard to tell, but he's definitely a bit longer. And again, there is much more of a gap, but it's not exactly uncommon for Seekers to have that huge, just open area. I do like that the sculpting in the vents here does actually get that sort of like little like staircase pattern that goes on in there, whereas this one is just kind of flat at the back. So there is that. Actually, now that I look at them, I think these are... No, they're not the exact same mold. There's less greebling on it. Very similar, though. I think not too much else to say here. But yeah, I don't think anyone's going to deny that this is definitely a huge improvement over the previous. And I'm one of those people who actually really like the Earthrise style mold. Maybe it's because, you know, I've never really got to experience the Classics mold up until, you know, like last year where I managed to get a Classic Starscream. But honestly, I don't think it's as bad as people make it out to be. I'm not going to pretend it's perfect, but I think people hate it a little bit more than necessary. And, you know, maybe that's because, like, you know, every time they make a Seeker mold, we see like 50 of it. And maybe people just got tired of it. I know that definitely happened with me and the Earthrise Megatron mold. I ended up with like 4 of those. So, but yeah, overall, I definitely think this is a huge improvement, and I am very, very satisfied with this new Thundercracker. Can't wait to get the other Seekers. Definitely looking forward to getting my Skywarp, and I do know that the Starscream is supposed to be a Target exclusive later this year. That should be fun, because nothing ever bad happens when you make a high popularity character an exclusive. Totally, it's gonna be fun trying to find that. It was already hard enough to find this guy. In fact, none of the Targets in my area seem to be stocking the Studio Series, with the exception of the Leader class. I was able to find Soundwave at Target, but I have not seen a single Deluxe in the wild. I got mine online, and I was only able to find this guy and the other Voyagers at Walmart specifically. And even then, it took me like 3 days of constant searching and following the forums to even manage to get this guy. So I am not looking at having the exclusive hunt for Starscream at all. But we'll cry at that bridge when we fall on it. Anyway, I think I'll go ahead and wrap this up. And I do give this guy a high recommendation. And I think that's all there is to say. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up this review. And this is Soul Prime 13 saying transform and soul out.